Hey, oh, what's going on?
Everything's good. How are you doing?
Tired today.
Just today? What do you do, Ken?
Oh, sorry. I manage portfolios of stocks and bonds.
You're a broker?
Yeah, broker by day, Daf Yomi by night.
It's a good combination.
Yeah, I started going to Rebecca Krause this year at 5:30 in the morning. So
Oops.
by this time at night, I'm usually fading away.
You go to Daf Yomi share?
I used to. I went to the previous cycle, but when the pen whatever it was, then I started going to Ernie, and I don't know, something happened, whether it was October 7th or just starting Bava Metziah again. I don't know. I got up the energy and I started going again, and I love it. It's a great shear and it's a great way to start the day. It's slower than Ernie. We're usually a little behind. We catch up on the weekends, But he's just very relaxed. He answers all questions. He knows everything. It's crazy.
It's interactive. If people ask
Very
questions,
interactive.
yeah.
Yes. Not
I go
not
to
that
Rabbi,
not in a distracting way, but
right.
people ask poignant questions, and he'll say, "Oh, that's a ktsos." He brings out a shulchan aruch. He does this. He does that.
Yeah. Okay.
He does a little more tosfos than Ernie.
I go to Rabbi Etzelam's share in Israel in the
That's
mornings.
wonderful. He's was a great rebbe for one of my sons.
He's great. He is absolutely amazing. But
Yeah,
he's very fast. He's
he's got
fast.
Tanakh down. No,
Yeah, he
Rabbi
does.
Krauss is the opposite. He goes slow. We
And you do
very
for half an
rarely
hour?
finish the block.
Half an hour?
The shear is 45 minutes in the morning.
Yeah, Robert Cross is excellent. He's slow. It's you can absorb it because he's focused, I think.
He's so clear.
Yeah.
And he weaves in stories and interesting mysim and interesting psakim from different
Yeah.
it's so
Well, that's experience.
encyclopedic.
That's years of
It's
experience. Yeah.
yeah.
But it's early in the morning. It's early.
Yeah.
What time does he do in the
It's
morning?
easier in Baba Metzia. I don't think I'll do it again in Kodshim and this type of stuff.
Uh-huh.
It just I get too frustrated with how esoteric it is. What's going on, Harold?
Same old, same old. Just over David Rubens for Minchamarev.
Oh, when does he get up from Shiva? I haven't gone.
Thursday morning. Thursday morning.
I'll have to go tomorrow.
There's a lot of people there, so
Yeah, not that I'll be missed, but I still have to go.
I mean the 7 kids plus her brother and her parents. It's there's a lot
Yeah, I saw
happening.
the truck driving up, like truckload of chairs.
Yeah, yeah, that's a truckload of chairs. That's basically right.
I was listening to a great podcast today, Barry Weiss. Have you ever listened to her?
Oh yeah, no, I never heard podcasts. I've read her stuff.
So I was trying to listen to something not about Israel and Hamas and this and that. So I just picked up her latest. And she
Yeah,
had some lady on named Batya, blah, 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 a social scientist who wrote a book on, I think she calls it Second Class. But it's basically, why did the working class vote for Donald Trump? And
oh
why was all of media, even to this day, why do they continually get it wrong, underestimate his support, and mislabel his support, and mislabel his supporters as racists and this and that.
Yeah.
It's
And
so and it's the woman is brilliant, and it just explains so much in such an
the
interesting
podcast,
manner.
if I look up Barry Weiss podcast, I'll find it that way.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, it's Bari Weiss, right?
Bari. I listen. Do you have Spotify?
Yeah.
Okay, here, I'll send you what I'm listening to. Hold on. I think this is excellent. I just have found it super interesting. I'm about 2/3 of the way through. Okay, I just sent it to you.
Okay.
Anyway, she says that Trump is polling by Black men at 40%.
What?
Yeah. Mexicans by Latinos over 50%.
Wow.
So one of her theses is that people thought the Republican Democratic divide was X, but it turns out it's really about class. And all of the working class issues that used to be Democratic, that under Clinton, Obama, and Biden, they have none of the issues of the Democratic Party speak to the working class. Anyway, it's she says it much more eloquently than me, but there's certain things that look like, oh wow, that's what happened. That is correct,
I still don't believe the polls. I think people are
Well,
being
she says like this. She says 96% of journalists and media personalities are Democratic. She says of that, 100% of them live in the major blue state cities. So they mostly live in not just Democratic places, but like uber Democratic places. So she says they don't even know a Republican. So they can't even envision, what it is to be a Trump supporter.
One encouraging poll I heard today is with the DA race here with Gascon and Hochman.
Is he out?
Yeah, well, it's a runoff. Hochman and Gascon. It's gonna be a runoff.
Yeah.
So the Hochman is beating him 2-1 so far in the latest poll. But
it should be an easy victory, just as Trump should be an easy victory.
They just finished counting the votes yesterday from the election. Do you know that? They just finished counting the votes. That's troubling. Takes them 3 weeks, almost a month to count the votes.
Yeah, and how many people are there in LA? 4 million? I mean, count it by hand and quicker than that.
What happened to Ernie? Did you go buy a new shirt? We're learning about Chef Yomi.
You bake it.
What's that?
And
You bake it?
you bake it. Danny forgot we had this year now.
How can you forget?
You had Surba before this, no?
Yeah.
Yes.
But we don't normally have this year so late.
Well, he had people in his house, so maybe he's escorting them to the door.
You want me to text him?
Entertaining.
It's not so big, the house, but he has to take so long. Come on. Oh, he has to take him from the west wing to the east wing, where the door is. Ugh. I'm gonna stop the recording.
I would I was schmoozing with Yaakov Yella. I completely forgot.
Oh, okay. Forgot
Ah.
about it.
You see?
That's
by the way,
okay. We've
Walter-
only been together
We're like
for
yesterday's
40
news.
years.
We're like an
Walter
old shirt.
Walter came back like 2 hours ago, but he's too tired. He came back from Israel today.
Okay.
Ready to roll.
34.
So we
34.
said that how can the shomer acquire the kefel, right? We say that if he paid, instead of taking a shvua, if he paid the owner, right? Somebody gave him something to watch, and it goes missing. So normally a shomer chinam is potter b'gneva v'aveda, but he has to take a shvua that he lo shalach yad, he was not negligent. He doesn't want to take a shvua. He pays instead. So we said, the Mishnah said he acquires the kefil. Question is, how can he acquire the kefil? It's something that's not in the world yet. Number one, miyemer demagad. That means at the time, all of these kinyonim are happening when the owner first gives the item. That's when he has to be makna the kefil for the future. So number one, miyemer demagad. Who's to say that it's going to get stolen? And even if it is stolen, who says that the ganav is going to be caught?
Why can't he be makne the kefil when the guy says, I don't want to swear? Here, I'll buy it from you. I'll pay it off now.
Because as I explained, all of this, the kinyan is happening when the owner first deposits the item with the shomer. It's then. It's done with the concept that if later on the shomer is going to pay me, it's been makne, but it's makne when the item is given to the guy.
And that's every pikadon. That's the rule by every pikadon.
So far, our Mishnah taught us the rule that if the shomer decides to pay instead of take the shvua, and the ganav is caught, the kefil is paid to the shomer because he basically acquired the item, and it's acquired from the time of the original kinyan. And
But
then
is that the way every pikadon works?
That's the way the Mishnah, our Mishnah in Amafkid, is describing what should happen. But right now, the Gemara is attacking that, Kenny. So
Right.
how does it work? What's the mechanism? You can't be makne davar shelo bala oilam. And here is to what extent it's all iffy. Who says it's going to be stolen? And even if it's stolen, who says you're going to find the ganav? And even more. Even if you find the ganav, miyeber de mishalim, dilma moidu mifter, right? You only pay kefil if you bring him to court. If a moide is poter b'knas, kefil is a knas. Someone who confesses doesn't have to pay the kefil. So there's all these ifs, ands, or buts. So Amar Rava, to explain our Mishnah, nasa ka'omer lo, at the time that the owner deposits the item with the shomer, it's as if he says to him, Lechesheti gonev, that in the future, if it gets stolen, and v'tirtze utishalmeini, and at that point you decide you want to pay me instead of taking a shvua, harei parosi knui lecha me'achshav. I'm giving this part to you from now. So it's not a kinyan shalabala oilam. The par is here. And this is how Rava unravels this sticky problem. However, maskif la Rab Zera, ihachi, if that's what you're describing, afilu gizoseu v'ladaseh nami. A sheep, the wool, and the children should belong to the shomer. Because what? He basically is getting, and we know that that's not correct. That if a pikadon is given, the shearings and the vlodders go back to the bailin. that later on we're going to learn in the Mishnah that the shomer doesn't keep those things. But why not? If he's been given the item, he should keep it all. Ella, this hechatimtza that Rava described, that he would add also, it's as if he said, chutz migizosev l'naseh. Now, umay paska, that's pretty, I mean, that you came up with this tonight. Why dafka that kind of tonight? I'll tell you why, says the Gemara. Stama de milsa. Something that's going to come from the outside. A ganef who pays, these are very rare, unexpected items. So that an owner is willing to be makne. Shvacha de migufal avedin makne. But something that is destined to arise from the body of the animal, like a vlad, or like wool, he's not going to makna that because he knows that he's going to get that. Okay, that makes sense. Ikedi Amri. Other people say that Amar Rava Nase Ka'omerlo, the owner, when he gives the item to the shomer, lecheshetigno, that when it's stolen, the tirtza to shalmeni, you want to pay me, samuch l'gnevasa knoilacha. It's not konui now. It's konui right before it's stolen from you. Right? That gets out of the problem of the shearings and the vlad. Because it's not like he gets the horror from now. It's like he's granted ownership of the par like a minute before it was stolen.
But it's still davar shein shalai ba'alayla.
I'm giving it to you. The hikvar haisa ba'olam, and the par is in the world at the time. So it's the only difference in this second teretz of Rava is that he's giving him the animal right an hour before it's forganvid. But he's giving him the para, so the para is in the world. Now, my binayu, what's the difference between the two? It could be nayu, this kasha Rab Zera about the gizoy sen vlodiseh, because the hour in advance is not going to give him the vlad or the shearings. Or inami the kaima bagam. Let's say the animal was in a meadow, not in anybody's reshus, before it was stolen. Since it was not in the house of the shomer, he doesn't acquire it. It's sort of, he's got, if he has it in his possession, in his backyard, and the owner says, I'm being makna it to you an hour before the gneva takes place, then he has a reshus over it, but not if it's not in his possession. Shilev l'rotzel lishav. The Mishnah said, the shomer pays, doesn't want to take a shvua, he acquires the kefil. Amrav kibra avram av yechlan. Lo shilem shilem mamish akivin sha amar hareini mishalem av abisha lo shilem. Once he says, I'll pay, he doesn't have to, he acquires the kefil, even if he hasn't paid yet. He's already zoicha. Tanan, shilem lo ratzli shava. So shilim in, lo shilim lo. The Gemara once is rejecting what Rav Chia is saying. It sounds like from our Mishnah, a mamish has to pay to acquire it. Aim is safe. Nishbov loretzel l'shalom. Let's say he doesn't want to pay, but he takes a shvua. Taima shalorotza. But in rotza, even if he didn't pay, even shaloshilem. So the ratio of the safe of our Mishnah is circular. You can't darshan from our Mishnah. Tani kavotz Rabbi Yochanan. Hasoicher por mechaveru. Somebody rents a para, v'nigneva, and it's stolen. The Amar Alon, the Soicher says, I'm going to pay and not take a shvua. And then Ganaf this fan. So even though he didn't physically pay, he has to say, I'm going to pay. So the Baraisa seems to support Rav Yochanan. Amrav Papa, Shomer Chino, Kivin Shomer Poshati. If he says I was negligent, so now he's chayiv to pay. So Maknele Kvela. You see, even forget about saying I want to pay. Putting himself into a situation where Bezdin is going to make him pay, like by saying I was negligent, he's also acquires the kefil from that moment on. Why? Because that claim, the iboi, poter nashe bigneva. Why did he say it was negligent? If a shomer chinim says it was stolen, then he's poter. So, since he could have claimed it was verganvit, and he says poshati, it's as if he said, "I'm going to pay." And similarly, a shomer sacher, even shomer nigneva, a shomer sacher has to pay if it's nigna. Is makna like kvela, because the iboy poter nafshe. If the shomer sacher wanted to exempt himself, he could have said shvura or mesa by oinus, and a shomer sacher is poter boinsin. When he would not have to pay. Yet the Gemara says shoyel, a borrower, shoyim areni mishalim lo makni lekfeilim. A shoel does not acquire the kefil. Why? He couldn't get out of a shoel. Remember, a shoel uses, a shomer socher is not supposed to touch the item. A shoel, a borrower, uses the item. So he's got a very close connection to the item. Therefore, he has a lot of responsibility. What taina could he have said to pater him? There is none. What, mesa machmas malacha? That is a tour by a shoyel, that it died while working. But mesa machmas malacha lo shchiach. So it's not, such a claim is not acceptable without proof. So when he says already mishalim, it doesn't pater him from any, he couldn't have made a better claim. Therefore, he doesn't acquire the kefil. But Ekedi Amri, other people learn this sugya of Rav Papa, Shoel Nami, a shoel, a borrower, alter, Kivin Shamarin Mishalim, Makni Lekfil. He does acquire the kefil by saying, I want to pay. The boy, if he wanted Potter Nafshib, he could have pottered himself. Forget about the fact that it's not Shchiach. He could have made a better claim. Amr Rav Zvid. Shoyel ad sheyishalim. The difference between a shomer chinim and a shomer socher and a soicher, they get the kefil even once they claim I'm going to pay, but a shoel mamish has to pay. My timer, kol anor shelo. He's using the item. He's not paying for it. Therefore, b'dibura alone lo makna lekfeil. The owner is not going to be maknim the kefil with just a promise of pay, just through dibur. I'm prepared to pay. The bailim are not maknim the kefil. And tani kavas and Rav Zvid. I'll bring you the price to support Rav Zvid. Hashel par mechavero. You borrow a para v'nigneva. The kidim hashel v'shilei. The shol actually paid. The kefil gets paid to the shul because he paid, but it's mashma that he actually paid. Now, lishna kamad Rav Papa, a shoel, according to Rav Papa, didn't acquire the kefil because he couldn't pater himself with mesa machmas balacha. So Vadi lo have a tiyuf, that's not a kasha, because we could explain this brisa very well according to his shita. The Lishna Basra, lemetiv tiyuf to Rav Papa. It'll be a kasha on Rav Papa the second way. Arba lecha Rav Papa, mi alimim masnisim. The brisa is not stronger than the brisa. The Mishnah is not. The brisa is not stronger than the Mishnah. Diktani shile. And V'ukimna, we established what does shile mean ba'omar. Only that he said, I'm going to pay. Hachanami, ba'omar, by the shul also, I can touch it up to say, he just claimed I'm going to pay, but he didn't pay. What does me dummy? Hasam loktani shile. He never said, Hasam loktani kide. It didn't say kide. He went ahead and did it. He went, and therefore, we have no right to say the manish paid. Amir is a no. But Hachakhtani Kidem, he did a Maisa. And the Maisa of Kidem included paying physically. What says no? My Kidem v'Omar. Doesn't mean that he paid. It means he jumped the gun and said, I'm going to pay. Hamiditani by a Soicher. Omar, Gabi Shoel, Kidem v'Shilim, Shvaina Dafkaktani means he paid. And not just Omar. No. Midi Gabi Hadari Tanya. They weren't taught the same place. These brises were not learned side by side. And there's no connection between them. Shailinu L'Tanoi, they asked the people who would read over the brises, the Beit Rachi Rabbi Shiva, Amri Gabi Hadari Tanya. No, they were learned together. They're one long brisa. And therefore you could learn one from the other. A shoel, we paskin, a shoel doesn't acquire the kefil. It's like Rav Papa, the way Abai explained it. Now, Shita, Omer, Eini Mishal. He said, I'm not going to pay. I'm going to take a shul. And then Chazar Omer Hareini Mishalim. So how come Omer Hareini Mishalim? And therefore he acquires the kefil. We want to know the other way. El Omer Hareini Mishalim. He says, I'm going to pay. And then Chazar Omer Hareini Mishalim. Then he changes his mind. Mine. Me, I mean, he's changed his mind. He doesn't get the kefil. He's standing on his first statement that he wants to pay. He's just delaying because he wants to gather the money. But he acquires the kefil. Another shaila. Amar Hareini Mishalim. He says, I want to pay. Umeis. He dies before he got to pay. The sons say we're not going to pay. My. Me, I mean, they went back on their father. It's a switcheroony. No, they want to keep up with the father's desire to pay, but they're just delaying until they can pay. Another question. The father dies. Omar. Shilmu bonim, my. The person paid to the son of the owner because the one who was mafkid died. The shomer paid to the sons. My. Do we say matzo unreleki akdilcha avuna kvela? Da obviously naich nafshevel anan ludidan lo. Your father was makna the kefil to. But because you made him feel good. But we didn't. Odim aloishna. Or Shamu Banim Lavanim. The sons of the ones who were holding the object paid to the mafkid's children. Or Shilem Mechza. He didn't pay all of it. Who gets the kefil? Shlosh Shtei Poros. He borrowed 2 cows and they were stolen. Vishilim achas man, he paid for one of them. My. Shom and Ashut, he borrowed from partners. Vishim lechad man, my. He paid only one of the partners. Shutfim sheshalu, two partners borrowed and only one of them paid. My. Shom and Aisha, Vishim labayla, my. Somebody borrowed from the wife, paid the husband. Or a woman, Isha sheshala v'shilim baila. The woman borrows and the husband paid. Who acquires the kefil? In all these cases, Teiku. Ravuna. Mashbino, so even though the shomer wants to pay, he doesn't want to take a shvua. And we say if he pays, he acquires it. We make him take another shvua. Mashbino so shvua she'ena b'shuso. We want to make sure that he says, I don't have the item in my possession. My timer. He likes the item. And he's trying to steal the item this way. So he has to take a shvua that he doesn't have it. Meisvei, I'll ask you a kasha. A mavis chaver la mashkoin, person loaned $1,000 and he gets a mashkoin back, collateral. The oven mashkoin, and the Rolex watch gets lost. The Amr lo, so the lender says, Sella, I loaned you $100. The Sella is 2 shkolim. And the mashkoin was worth a shekel. Shekel ayashava. So the guy owes him another shekel. It was worth 2 shekels. It was worth the whole seller. So he's denying the whole claim, potter. He's not a moed b'miktzas. But if the malva claims selayil v'sicha, b'shekel ayashava, that I lent you $100 and the mashka was only worth 50. He admits to 75. So because he's a moed b'miktzas. If the borrower says, Seli vitani Allah, I borrowed 100. It was worth 2 sellers. The mashka was worth 200. Malva says, they were equal. So the Malvez, who's being claimed against, is denying everything potter. But Seli v'siyan lav shnai ma'yashava. I borrowed 100. I gave you a mashka of 200. V'alo, the borrower says, Lo ki ala seli v'ticha lav uvem chamisha dinar ma'yashava. It was worth 150. Chayav b'shvuot is moed b'miktzas. The question is, mi nishba. So the Gemara answers, mi shapikod netzlo. Whoever has the pikod. Why? Shema shisha v'zeh. If the borrower takes the shvua, who's claiming that the pikod was worth something, the yotzi Allah es a pikod. The one who's holding on to the pikod will bring it out and prove that the guy's taking a shvua sheker. We don't want that. So whoever's holding on to the pikod, in this case, the malva who's holding on to the collateral takes the shvua. Therefore, no proof can be done about shvua sheker. Now, ayah. This question about who's taking a shvua, what part? Ilem seifa, where the love is trying to get the right value for his collateral. Typically, the shvua gabi malvihi, but it's the lender who needs to take a shvua for different reasons. He's admitting to the partial claim, and Minatora, he's the one who's to take the shvua. And Amar Shmuel, Aresha. Umay Aresha, a sefer de Resha. The end part of the Resha. In the case of the lender said, Sel v'ticha lav shekel hayashaveh. I lent you $100, the mashka was worth 50. V'alo, right, the love who gave the collateral says, Lo ki el sel v'tari alecha shlosha diram hayashaveh. The loan was 100, but the collateral was 75. So chayiv b'shvua. Shvua gabi lovehu. The love in that case has to take the oath. He's the one who's being claimed against, and he's being moed b'miktzas. For Amr Rabbanon, Yishtav v'malva, Shema Yishav v'zeviyotz elos apikon, for the same reason. The malva should take a shvua, not the love, because he'll pull out the collateral and prove that the guy's taking a false shvua. Okay. We'll stop here. Tomorrow,
Go ahead, Ernie.
regular